¿Qué tal, amigos? Buenas noches, bienvenidos a Noticias 13, su hora informativa. Gracias por sintonizarnos. De forma inmediata nos vamos a las informaciones.
Noticia del día.
Antes de que Joe Biden partiera a Puerto Rico, la Casa Blanca informó la asignación para la isla de más de $60 millones de la Ley de Inversión en Infraestructura, que buscará fortalecer diques, muros contra inundaciones y crear un nuevo sistema de alerta de inundaciones, mientras el gobernador Pedro Pierluisi solicitó al presidente Joe Biden que la declaración de desastre mayor se extendiera por 180 días, a diferencia de los 100 días establecidos. En conferencia de prensa, el primer ejecutivo, acompañado por su hermana Caridad Pierluisi, la representante estadounidense Nidia Velázquez, la comisionada residente en Washington, D.C., Jennifer González, y el alcalde de Ponce, Luis Irizarry Pavón, insistió que la isla necesita toda la ayuda posible del gobierno federal. Escuchemos las expresiones del primer ejecutivo.
I want to officially welcome you and First Lady Jill Biden to Puerto Rico. We're honored to have you here. The people of Puerto Rico are very grateful for your steadfast support and highly appreciate your visit, particularly as we recover from Hurricane Fiona. I must highlight that this visit is not an isolated incident. It is yet another example of your commitment to the well-being of the American citizens of Puerto Rico, which you, Mr. President, and your administration have demonstrated with concrete actions for the past 19 months. That support has included total collaboration from cabinet members in key federal agencies, as well as targeted initiatives in important policy areas such as education, renewable energy, and economic development. Now, in Puerto Rico's time of need, the Biden administration has been working closely with us since before the hurricane hit us. As I have mentioned to the President, FEMA's collaboration has been instrumental to our island's reconstruction efforts, and that has helped put our people in Puerto Rico back on their feet. My team and I provided the President and his staff with a detailed briefing of where we are with respect to the recovery from Hurricane Fiona, and described the challenges and opportunities on which we must work together. This is crucial in order to be able to efficiently provide our residents equitable access to essential services and achieve the resiliency in our infrastructure that we need. To that end, I have made a request to President Biden to amend the major disaster declaration to provide an additional period of 180 days of 100% funding for debris removal, emergency protective measures, and direct federal assistance. Right now, Puerto Rico is in a full recovery mode. Just 2 weeks after Fiona, 93% of Puerto Ricans have electricity and 98% have water service. We have been able to provide safe passage to all communities whose access roads or bridges were affected, and everyone who was housed in a shelter has either returned to their home or has been provided temporary housing. All 78 Puerto Rican municipalities were included in the major disaster declaration, and more than 800,000 residents of Puerto Rico have registered with FEMA to claim individual assistance. Our efforts to combat poverty are especially important after a disaster like Hurricane Fiona, in which so many vulnerable families lost their homes and belongings. Thus, I have asked FEMA to provide immediate access to the supplies in its local warehouses to our government and the 94 local non-governmental organizations operating community hubs on our island. On the other hand, we must leverage the recent advances we have made in the ongoing reconstruction due to Hurricane Maria 5 years ago. So it is crucial that all projects stemming from the impact of Hurricane Fiona be incorporated in our previous projects in a cohesive and strategic manner. In addition, since so much of the damage by Fiona's flooding was on our transportation infrastructure, we have requested that FEMA treat the reconstruction of our roads and bridges as critical infrastructure in its recovery policy. We also talked about additional ways in which the federal government can assist us in advancing the transformation of our electric system and achieving our renewable energy generation goals by 2050, consistent with the Memorandum of Understanding we signed last February with key federal agencies. This initiative will help us promote microgrids and distributed energy in remote areas, improve our power sector resiliency, and increase access to more affordable energy and cleaner air. Finally, we spoke of the need to prioritize U.S. Army Corps of Engineers flood control projects to mitigate further damages from potential additional storms. The Corps' ongoing or potential projects cover areas that suffered damages during Hurricane Fiona, such as the areas surrounding Rio La Plata, Rio Puerto Nuevo, Rio Grande de Arecibo, Rio Nigua, Rio Guanajibo, and Rio Inabon here in Ponce. Other areas we must prioritize are aid to our farmers, climate change mitigation initiatives like coastal erosion and coral restoration projects, and adequate funding for our healthcare programs. In short, my asks to you, Mr. President, are straightforward. We want to be treated in the same way as our fellow Americans in the States in times of need. All American citizens, regardless of where they live in the United States, should receive the same support from the federal government. We're confident that the President will heed our call for equal treatment because that is consistent with his priorities and his policies.
El presidente Joe Biden prometió esta tarde que aprobará todas las medidas posibles para la reconstrucción de la isla tras el paso del huracán Fiona y para que la infraestructura de Puerto Rico sea una más resiliente de cara a futuros fenómenos atmosféricos. En su mensaje, Biden recalcó las vicisitudes del pueblo puertorriqueño a través de los pasados 5 años, recordando que desde el paso del huracán María sobre la isla en el año 2017, se unen a que los puertorriqueños han tenido que sobrevivir los sismos del 2020, seguido por la pandemia del COVID-19 y recientemente el embate del huracán Fiona. Escuchemos y veamos.
Let me start off by saying that Jill and I, and thank you very much for that lovely introduction. Jill and I we're anxious to be here. You know, I come from the little state of Delaware. It's not like the congresswoman from New York. She's from the big state. But we have a very, in relative terms, large Puerto Rican population in Delaware, relative to our population. We have the 8th largest black population in the country, and between all minorities, we have 20% of our state is minority. And so I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home politically. And so we came here for a long time, both for business and pleasure, since you're part of the Third Circuit Court of Appeals and Delaware is as well, and I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee. I spent a lot of time in the northern part of the state. But look, it's people like you who do so much for your community and are going to make such a big difference as Puerto Rico rebuilds. Thank you, Governor, for your partnership as we work together to help rebuild Puerto Rico. And I mean rebuild it all and rebuild it in a resilient way. So you don't, when storms come again, which they will, they're not having the damage they caused before. And I want to thank the members of Congress and local officials, community leaders who have joined us today. Ever since the hurricane struck, Jill and I have had people in Puerto Rico on our minds and in our prayers. We came here in person to show that we're with you. All of America is with you as you receive and recover and rebuild. I'm confident we're going to be able to do all you want, Governor, and I'm committed to this island. Puerto Rico has been through so much in recent years. Hurricane Maria 5 years ago, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake 2 years ago. The folks slept outside for days, worried about their homes would collapse on them if they went in. Then COVID-19, and then Fiona. And yes, Puerto Rico is a strong place, and Puerto Ricans are strong people, but even so, you have had to bear so much and more than need be, and you haven't gotten the help in a timely way. And this latest storm dealt a serious blow to all the hard work that have been done since Maria. Roads and bridges built after Maria have been washed away again. Families who spent their savings to build new homes after losing their last ones have seen them flooded away. Crops decimated, farms destroyed. Here in Ponce and communities nearby have been hit the hardest. And in for days, people live without power, without water, some still in that circumstance. No idea when to be back again. And for everyone who survived Maria Fiona must have been an all too familiar nightmare. You know better than anyone that over time, these losses add up. And so Puerto Ricans have lost loved ones in the storm and in the perilous disasters. And the number can feel abstract sometimes when you hear a number, but every number is a person, every life lived. We read the obituaries and remembrances, and they all feel like people we knew. Doting grandparents, devoted parents, christened children, longtime neighbors, people who cared about their community and made a difference. And they will not be forgotten. And then through these disasters, so many people have been displaced from their homes, lost their jobs and savings, or suffered injuries, often unseen, but many times seen. Yet somehow, the people of Puerto Rico keep getting back up with resilience and determination. Quite frankly, it's pretty extraordinary when you look at it from afar. And you deserve every bit of help your country can give you. That's what I'm determined to do, and that's what I promise you. After Maria, Congress approved billions of dollars for Puerto Rico, much of it not having gotten here initially. We're going to make sure you get every single dollar promised. And I'm determined to help Puerto Rico build faster than in the past and stronger and better prepared for the future. And that's why I approved emergency declarations of Puerto Rico before the hurricane. Governor, remember my call on you before the hurricane made landfall to deliver immediate federal funding to shelter people and provide essential support. Just a few days later, I approved an expedited major disaster declaration. That means federal government will cover 100% of the cost to clear debris and carry out search and rescue and continue to shelter people. It also means homeowners, renters, business owners are eligible to apply for federal help to recover damaged losses caused by Hurricane Fiona. The federal government is going to provide individual assistance for up to $37,900 for essential home repairs and another $37,900 for lost property, as the law calls for, like a car or a refrigerator. Additionally, we've deployed more than 1,200 personnel from FEMA, the Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Department of Energy, the Environmental Protection Agency. They include search and rescue, teams to assist survivors, and power restoration experts. Power is now back, as you pointed out, governed at 92% of the island, and water is back at 95% of the island, thanks in part to the dedicated IBW workers and federal support staff. Now we have to get to 100%. And here at this facility, you can see some of the generators from FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers that were transporting to places that still don't have power. Here they're loaded onto trucks and brought to locations and hospitals and shelters, paired with fuel trucks so generators can be gassed up on site. My administration is also providing financial assistance to help families and individuals right away. Many families are scrambling to pay their bills right now to fill up their gas tank, to put food on the table. They can register at FEMA, cash assistance for $700 to help cover the essentials for just a little while. So far, nearly 200,000 households across Puerto Rico have received this cash assistance. $700 won't replace what you lost, not even close, but it can help take care of some of the little basics while you catch your breath and get back on your feet. And FEMA has made crisis counselors available when you're, whether you're a survivor or a first responder. If you need help or just someone to talk to, people are here for you. The hotline number is 800-981-0023. I'll say it again, 800-981-0023. Don't be embarrassed to call. Whether you're Spanish or English-speaking, counselors will be standing by to help you. And at times like these, Americans come together, and I'm grateful for our personnel of FEMA and other agencies for the hard work these past few weeks. Many of our FEMA staff, as been pointed out, are from Puerto Rico or Puerto Rican. They've been working 24/7 to get help to people across the island, while also scrambling to help their own families and neighbors. I want to recognize the local first responders, including Puerto Rican National Guard, who have been working round the clock, and I mean it literally round the clock. They've been through a lot the past 5 years. I want to applaud the Red Cross volunteers who came from as far away as California, Louisiana, Minnesota, Texas, to help however they can. And New York sent not only a congresswoman, the most congresswoman in the Congress, but the state troopers and emergency responders. I don't think you're going to stay the whole time, right? Anyway, all kidding aside, New Jersey sent their all-hazard incident management teams trained for hurricane responses. These states are home to two of the largest Puerto Rican populations in the United States, New York and New Jersey, and their sisters and brothers in Puerto Rico needed them, and they answered the call. Most of all, I want to recognize the heroism and selflessness of so many people across Puerto Rico. The main story that has been reported is the storm, but there's another story, what ordinary people did when the storm hit. Literally, the day after the hurricane, the day after, churches and community organizations opened a network of kitchens across the island to cook hot food for anyone who needed it. Folks delivered food to the elderly who were housebound. They started their generators, they shared their generators with neighbors who had medicine that needed to be refrigerated. They organized activities for kids to give their exhausted parents a break. They arranged canvases to bring food, water, and other supplies and commodities to communities cut short as a consequence of landslide and flooding that couldn't be reached. And during the storm, when the waters were rising, people went to extraordinary lengths to help each other survive. We've seen people using a raft and a boat tied to a rope to brave the raging waters and rescue neighbors trapped in their homes. You know, they aren't paratroopers or search and rescue professionals, they're neighbors. They're just regular folks ready and willing to do whatever they could do when their help was needed, when the neighbor was in trouble. And thanks to them, all the people of Puerto Rico, this recovery from Fiona is underway. I'm encouraged by all the stories that are opening up, the hospitals that have kept running, the supply chains that held steady, and the debris has already begun to be cleared on roads across the island, and we will continue the debris coverage. Still, we have to do more. We have to ensure that when the next hurricane strikes, Puerto Rico is ready. Today, I'm announcing more than $60 million in funding to help coastal areas in Puerto Rico become better prepared for the storm. For example, we can create a flood warning system to help shore up levees and flood walls. In addition, there's nearly $700 million in infrastructure investments in Puerto Rico that have already been announced since I signed the bipartisan infrastructure law last November. For example, we've awarded $90 million to upgrade PR2 highway, and we've announced $163 million to begin construction on a canal to restore Canal, help me with the pronunciation. Martin Peña. That entire ecosystem. And we're going to clean up polluted waters and restore mitigation mangrove habitats, and bring back marine life. And you're going to see investments like these increasing significantly in the months ahead. We're investing in Puerto Rico's roads, bridges, public transit, ports, airports, water safety, and high-speed internet. We know that the climate crisis and more extreme weather are going to continue to hit this island and hit the United States overall. And as we rebuild, we have to ensure that we build it to last. We're particularly focused on the power grid. This year, to date, Puerto Rico has received $4 million to help make the power grid more resilient. That number is going to go up. As we conveyed to the governor, I'm ready to deploy and expedite more resources from the Department of Energy and other federal agencies, not just, I don't usually talk this fast, but it looks like it's moving quickly, to help transform the entire system so the Puerto Rican people can get clean, reliable, affordable power they need, and the power stays in homes and hospitals when storms like Fiona strike. That includes mini grids, which you can begin to deploy soon so we are less dependent on transmission lines across the long distances, and more redundancy when the storms hit. The goal is lower energy bills and more reliable power for Puerto Rican households. Additionally, I've asked the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, who's a first-rate person, to lead a supercharged effort across the entire federal government. She's going to put in place the Puerto Rican Grid Recovery Modernization Team to bring to bear all the federal resources and technical assistance and additional support for Puerto Rico. And we'll help as you work to repair your grid quickly and drive decisive progress on the game plan for Puerto Rico's clean energy transformation. You know, I also know many people in Puerto Rico have many family friends and friends in Florida. Your hearts are with them right now, and their hearts are with you. Jill and I will be in Florida on Wednesday. And as I've made clear, at times like these, our nation comes together, put aside our difference, our political differences, and get to work. We show up when we're needed. Because if we lost our home, if we lost a loved one, we'd hope that people would show up for us as well. And I want the people of Puerto Rico to know I'm committed, to my entire administration is committed, to standing with you every step of the way, as long as it takes. And the White House reception honoring Hispanic History Month, a U.S. Army chaplain, a Catholic priest, proud son of Puerto Rico, offered a prayer for all those who suffered through the hurricane, including Puerto Rico. Here's what he said. He said, "Give us generous hearts that we may continue to use our gifts to support them." Well, the people of Puerto Rico have generous hearts, and that's what they get through this. We're returning generosity. And that's the generous hearts that the rest of the country are going to make sure we continue to provide. But I want to say it again. We are not leaving here as long as I'm president until everything, I mean this sincerely, until every single thing that we can do is done.
Gobierno.
Luma Energy reportó este lunes que un 93% de los clientes tienen electricidad tras el paso del huracán Fiona el pasado 18 de septiembre. En un comunicado de prensa, la empresa precisó que restableció el servicio a sobre 1,36 millones de abonados, o el 93% del total de los clientes. Debido a la severidad de los daños en las regiones más afectadas, Luma aseguró que tiene priorizada las zonas oeste y sur para realizar las reparaciones. El 100% de los clientes en las regiones de San Juan y Bayamón cuentan ya con energía, afirmó Luma, así como el 97% de los clientes en la región de Caguas y el 95% de los clientes en la región de Arecibo.
Agenda.
Olímpico llevará a más de 50 atletas a los Juegos Playeros Santa Marta 2022. Vamos con Pamela Hernández para que nos ponga al día. Pamela.
Asimismo, este lunes se oficializó la temporada de clasificación a los Centroamericanos y del Caribe Mar y Playa 2022. A continuación le presento los detalles. De Juegos Centroamericanos y del Caribe Mar y Playa será este próximo 19 y 20 de noviembre en Colombia, donde Puerto Rico competirá en 8 de 11 disciplinas, entre ellas aguas abiertas, tenis, vela, surfing, lucha, patineta, natación y voleibol.
Como todos ustedes saben, los Juegos de Playa ha sido una modalidad que el movimiento olímpico ha ido desarrollando en los últimos años. Ya se han celebrado, Puerto Rico estuvo presente en los Juegos Mundiales de Playa en Doha hace 3 años atrás, donde nuestro Steven Piñeiro ganó su medalla en el skateboard. En aquel momento estuvimos representados por Steven y por 4 atletas del tenis de playa. Ya en el área nuestra hay sudamericanos de playa, estos van a ser los centroamericanos y del Caribe de playa, y se están hablando ya de realizar unos Juegos Panamericanos también de playa. Así que las modalidades de playa se van a ir creciendo oportunamente. Nosotros como Comité Olímpico ya hemos celebrado 2 festivales olímpicos de playa, este año y el año pasado también en el balneario de Isla Verde. Así que nos hemos dado, ¿verdad?, le hemos puesto mucho corazón y mucho empeño a estas nuevas modalidades porque sabemos que se van a seguir desarrollando en el olimpismo.
Fernando Olivero, director ejecutivo de Alto Rendimiento, mencionó que las expectativas son traer a la isla de 14 a 17 medallas.
Se proyecta, todavía sin tener la inscripción final, para hacer un análisis de quién inscribió los otros países. Se proyecta obtener en estos Juegos un total entre 14 y 17 medallas. En términos de eficiencia de los juegos, estamos proyectando tener entre un 42 y un 50% de eficiencia, que eso básicamente es las medallas obtenidas entre los eventos participados. Eso nos dice lo eficiente que fue la delegación. El índice de eficacia, que eso es cuánto nos tocó, cuántos atletas para obtener esa medalla. Estamos pronosticando que sea un 11.36, que es bastante alto, pero esos son números que nosotros lo utilizamos a ver cuál eficaz fue la inversión en términos de la delegación total. Y el ratio de atletas estaremos 1.75, que por cada evento estaremos aproximadamente 1.75, que es relativamente bajo. Acuérdense, no hay tanto deporte de conjunto en estos juegos.
Como parte del desarrollo de los atletas, de igual manera se firmó hoy una alianza con la Universidad Carlos Albizu Campo en una campaña de salud mental para el bienestar del deportista como para su familia. El rector Julio Santana adelanta que algunas de las ayudas será la apertura de un centro de bienestar, adiestramientos a entrenadores y atletas y campañas de prevención.
Esta alianza es un proyecto comprensivo, más amplio, que continúa y se establece público a partir de hoy y tiene 5 componentes. El primer componente es una campaña de promoción y salud mental y bienestar para nuestros atletas y toda la población. Ustedes conocen la importancia de la actividad física del deporte, cómo está relacionada con mejor estado de ánimo y con ayudar a las personas a alcanzar metas y propósitos en algún área importante de su vida. El otro componente es, nosotros tenemos la determinación y el compromiso con el COPUR de crear un centro de bienestar y apoyo a deportistas y sus familiares. Entendemos que no es psicología de deporte lo que vamos a hacer aquí, sino es poder evaluar necesidades, poder intervenir con la población de atletas y sus familiares que en algún momento necesiten orientación, necesiten apoyo emocional por las circunstancias personales y familiares que atraviesa todo el mundo, incluidos los deportistas y sus familiares.
Adicional, Sara Rosario Vélez, presidenta de dicho comité, dio inicio al certamen olímpico dibujo infantil para las escuelas públicos y privadas desde kinder hasta 5º grado, que inicia mañana 4 de octubre y culmina el 4 de noviembre.
Hay 3 categorías, lo que queremos hacer un certamen de arte para las escuelas, ¿verdad? Primarias, 3 categorías de kinder a primero, de segundo a tercero, de cuarto y quinto, buscando que las brechas de los niños y destrezas pues sean lo más cerradas posible. Hay premios que yo creo que una de las cosas más difíciles fue identificar un premio que pudiera realmente motivar al niño a hacer un dibujo, ¿verdad? Y lamentablemente pues todos estos juegos electrónicos para ellos son importantes, así que el premio que cada niño, hay un solo ganador por cada una de las categorías, pues cada niño va a recibir un Nintendo Switch con el juego de Mario y Sonic de los Juegos Olímpicos. Y más importante que esto todavía, para las escuelas o los colegios donde el niño participe, va a tener un certificado, ¿verdad?, del Comité Olímpico con una compra de $300 en un equipo deportivo, que lo vamos a hacer de acuerdo a la necesidad que tenga la escuela. Hablamos con el maestro de educación física y que me diga él que necesita balones de voleibol, balones de soccer, ¿verdad? Una malla, cono, lo que sea, ¿verdad? Que esa escuela necesite como tal, pues va a recibir del Comité Olímpico una compra valorada en $300.
Desde San Juan, Yadiel Pérez, Pamela Hernández.
Salud.
El Departamento de Salud reportó este lunes una nueva muerte por COVID-19 que elevó a 5.155 el total acumulado en este renglón desde que inició la emergencia en Puerto Rico. De otro lado, Salud informó que el total de pacientes hospitalizados por el virus aumentó a 203, lo que se traduce en 6 pacientes más que ayer. El número global de personas hospitalizadas se desglosa en 172 adultos y 31 pediátricos.